say, excuse me. Well, if you buy something at the store and you pay full price, say those new Nikes that you just have to have, if you pay full price, that is called retail. If you were to get something on sale, what you would get marked off of the price, would be your savings, that would be the discount. When the price is discounted, the price falls, and that would be, it would fall to a level called the sale price. So retail is the full price, you get it on sale, it drops down to the sale price. When you're calculating percent of change on these things, if they said, oh, you're getting a 15% discount, that is calculated on the start, which would be retail. If you were to work backwards and say the sale price was $50, and you have to write an equation to say what was the retail price, and they give you the percentage, this is written in terms of, again, the starting point, the full thing, the full retail price. Another word that you hear is wholesale. Wholesale is simply if you are a store owner, what you pay for goods is wholesale. So say you bought that bunch of shoes or something and you paid $40 each for each one of the shoes. That's your wholesale cost. You will mark them up. The markup is the amount you will increase the price of those shoes, and the difference will be your profit. The markup, well, in simplified terms, would be your profit if you discounted other expenses. Wholesale is what you pay for it. Retail is what you sell it for. Sale price and discounted is what you might bring it down to if you bring it on sale. If your sale price was actually lower than wholesale, that would not be a good thing for your business. You would be losing money there. If you mark down the shoes to $38 just to clear them out, maybe that's a good decision because you do need to clear them out, but it's not a good trend, as you'll be losing money. Okay, so if you've done a good job understanding distributive property and understanding the concept of percent of is, as described earlier in this, you're probably going to be okay with this. But this is generally where the challenges begin, because this sort of becomes a two-step problem, and it seems like one of those questions that can't be answered, although if you represent it accurately, it's not even an issue at all. So this first equation says, after a 7% tax, new sneakers cost you $49.49. What was the retail cost of the sneakers? In other words, what did you pay for them? What did you agree to pay? Okay, I'll buy these sneakers for this amount. And you go up to the cash register, you buy the sneakers, and of course they add on the 7% tax. Now, the trick I will tell you right away, the biggest problem is that most folks say, well, I'll just take the cost of these nice Nikes, and I will say that they were $49.49. I'll just take $49.49. I'll take 10% of that. 7% of that, and that'll give me, I'll figure out what that is and I'll subtract it away. Well, here's the problem. The Nikes didn't cost you $49.49. The Nikes plus the tax cost you $49.49. So if you take 7% of this large number here and then take it away from the smaller number, it's not the same thing. 7% of this smaller number is not the same as 7% of this larger number over here. So this is what you have to say. You have to say to yourself, well, what did I pay for the sneakers? And you have to have a little trust here. You don't know the number, but you're going to say the cost of the Nikes was N. Well, what did I add to the cost of the Nikes? Well, to the cost of the Nikes, I added 7%. Well, it's not just enough to say 7%. It's not just enough to say 0.07, because that's like 7 cents. But you don't know. You didn't pay just 7%, think of those earlier equations. You paid 7% of the cost of the Nikes. Well, you don't have that number, but you can say whatever that number n was. If it was 100, it would be 100 times 0.07. If it was 50, it would be 50 times 0.07. So if it's n times 0.07. Now, this is where your like terms come in. You know that the cost of the Nikes plus 7% of the cost of the Nikes equals 49.49. You know that there's 1 in here because the hidden coefficient of 1. You know there's 0.07 right here. So that will leave you with 1.07 times the cost of Nikes. That will equal 49.49. And if you divide by 1.07, voila, you'll be right there with your answer. Another way to think of it is if you have 100% of something and you added 7% of that something, then what you have is 107% of that something. That's why it becomes 1.07n. So a little more, slightly more tricky is this question. After a 5% discount, sneakers cost $61.11. What was the retail price? So the same trap is present in this problem. You have to be careful because you're talking about a 5% discount on what the original cost of those, the retail cost of those sneakers, those Nikes, whatever they are. Now you got a discount. Okay, so what you're actually going to pay, the sale price, is a smaller number than the retail. It's 5% less than the retail. So the trick is that some people say, well, I'll just find, the danger is that some people say, I'll just find 5% of retail and I'll take it away from retail. And well, actually that would be fine if you were given that retail number, but the problem is the sneakers cost $61.11. So if they say I'll take 5% of $61.11 and then I'll just add it right on here. Well, the problem with that is that you're taking 5% of a smaller number. You're taking 5% of $61.11, not 5% of the retail, because once again, the percent of change is always factored on the start. Well, what was the start? The start was the retail. Okay, so if you take 5% of the sale price, you're getting 5% of a smaller number, and your answer will be just a little bit too low. It'll be 100% wrong, even though it's just a little bit too low. So you can't do it that way. So how do you do it? Well, you go back to what you know originally. You just say, if R is the retail price, 100% of R, 1.0 R, decreased by 5%. Not just 0.05, not just a nickel, but 0.05 times the retail. Even though we don't know what it is, we're going to say 0.05 R. And in the end, after you have 100% of R and you take away 5% of R, that will give you 0.95 of R. And of course, 0.595 of R is 61.11. Okay, and if you go ahead and divide that by 0.95, divide by 0.95, you'll find a nice tidy number. Actually, it's not such a nice tidy number. It comes out that R is around, rounded to the nearest penny, would be $64.33. That's a rounded value. It's actually 32.6. Now, if you check that out, you can take 5% of that number and subtract it from that, and you'll come out right at the neighborhood of 61.11. Okay, for the last equation, the last example of percent equations, the question is, the 7% sales tax on sneakers is $3.12. what did the sneakers cost? So in this case, you're not being asked what was the retail price or what was the sale price. It's just the tax. So this is just part of the bill. So if you have the original amount, that whatever it was that you paid, and you added on the tax on top of it, we're saying that that amount right there, that is $3.12. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, you simply need to go back to that first equation we were talking about, and it's basically percent of is again, and you're going to say, well, you're saying 7% of the retail price is $3.12. So what do you not know? This is what you don't know. So you'll simply be saying 0.07 of what number is 3.12. And after you divide it all out, divide by 0.07, divide by 0.07, your answer is getting larger. And the price is going to be rounded to 44.57 as a rounded value. Okay, so for your homework questions, the first ones are the basic ones from the beginning of this video. What is 42% of 240? Second one, 2.3% of what number is 46? And the third one, what percent of 24 is 2? The next questions are a little bit more like the second half of this video. Remember, these are not simply percent of a number is. There's two things that are involved. Often it's about distributive property. Rewatch the video in that section if you're stuck. You collected 20% more Halloween candy this year than last. This year you got 96 pieces. What amount did you collect last year? It is not 20% of 96. Take it away. You saved 12% of your candy for your mom. She happily received the 24 pieces. How much candy did you have? So it's a very large number because you gave your mom 24 pieces, and that was 12% of your total. After a 10% discount, you spent $72. What was the retail cost before the discount? The answer is not 10% of 72 because the discount is factored on where you finished, the retail price, or the very beginning, I should say. So you took 10% off the retail price and you paid $72. Taking 10% of 72 will not get you back to that retail price. So make sure you write a variable expression with perhaps R as the retail price. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. Good luck to you.